talk today is in conjunction with your current retrospective at AMOCA, the American Museum of Ceramic Arts, and the images on the screen are in the catalog. They are the pieces which are exhibited in your retrospective. It's a tremendous show, Anna, and I want to ask you, how does it feel to see so many of your pieces together, and pieces you may not have seen for a really long time? What emotions or feelings did you have the first time you walked in and saw it?
I couldn't believe I made them. I said, did I make those pieces? That's the feeling I had.
Did you, was it odd to see them all together, just so many of them and all the colors
Yes.
and all the
Well, yes, but you know, when I saw the show, it's a small part of what I've done, my repertoire. I've made maybe 3 or 4 times that many pieces. Each one of those pieces is part of like a series. I used to work in a series. I have to excuse my voice today. It's kind of difficult.
Sounds fun. When you see some of the pieces, do you remember actually the process of making it and the challenges that you had?
Yes, everyone. Everyone is a challenge.
And you remember it?
Well, yes, I think so. They're very familiar. It doesn't matter how old they are, except that they're a surprise because I haven't seen them in so long. That's when I say, did I make that? You know, it just, I can't believe I made it because it's a long time ago.
It's a long time ago.
Yeah.
How has the process of making ceramics changed over the years? I know you used to make everything by hand, including the glazes.
That's right.
And I heard you once say that you took material out of a beanbag and shaped the clay around the form. And have the new techniques taken any of the pleasure away from making the art?
No, not at all. I make it easier. They don't really have anything to do with the art on the piece. So if you can, I mean, I used to make clay, for example, right from the start. The clay powder and the water and the this, and I add all the stuff to it to make. Why bother if you can buy it already made, you know? So that's, I think the new things, anything that's new is very good.
Are there any negatives about some of the new process, or did you have to learn things all over again?
No, not really. The one thing that's really kind of a shame is that certain minerals are gone and you can't get them anymore, which is kind of a shock. I mean, because they're from the earth and they're expensive and hard to get, like cobalt, for example. Yeah.
Yeah, things like that. But you've replaced it with other things, probably.
No, I pay the price. And I've always paid because to me, it didn't matter. It was worth it to use something good, you know.
The high standards of your materials.
Yes, I mean, I used to use a lot of gold when people never used it because they wouldn't buy it. It's very expensive. But I felt if it's my hand and my work, I'm going to do it.
Right.
So
How did you first start using gold?
Well, I started using gold years ago when people didn't like it at all. You know, they liked brown ware. We used to call it brown ceramics, which is gorgeous also, which I've done, and blue and white porcelain. I've done it all. But I love the gold on ceramics, and I started to use it a long time ago. Of course, now everybody wants the gold that they didn't like years ago. Now people want a touch of gold on the piece.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know, there's something about gold. It goes all the way back to all the gold, the Scythian gold, all gold. People love gold, you know. So.
You studied at Otis during a really pivotal time.
Everybody was there at that time. That in the, you know, that Otis was erupting. Yeah.
And you were actually interviewed by Miller Cheats for your...
To get into Otis, yes, yes,
He was the head of Otis.
yes.
And an amazing
I remember.
artist.
Yes, yes. I mean, I trotted into his office with a little portfolio. He looked at it and he said, okay.
Tell,
That's it. That's it.
tell us about working with Volkas and some of those amazing artists. How did they influence you? And
Oh, they were amazing. It was just great to see all that spirit that there was at Otis at that time. You know, Michael Fremkes, we actually took classes at that time, like drawing and all kinds of painting. Renzo Fenci was there, the Italian sculptor, all these things. But it was a real school. It wasn't just, I don't know what it's like now, but it was the real deal. And I think Volkas and Billy Al Bankston and that whole crew they were crazy but fun and wonderful. It was wonderful. Yeah. And they were so free that it freed you up, you know.
is that one of the main takeaways you got from being at Otis, was freeing yourself up and the ability, the encouragement to do that?
I think so. I think so. Yeah, because my background was very, you know, draw the drapes, you know, draw the bricks, the whole thing. And so when you go to there, the way they used everything was completely different, and everything was great fun. I don't know how to say it, but it was fun.
Was that a surprise
It
to
was,
you?
well, kind of. It wasn't like work when you know. The drawing teacher at that time was phenomenal. He went to Chenard from there. I mean, you really got a good background in, I think,
The drawing.
in art and drawing and
stayed
clay.
in touch
Helen
with them.
Watson was my teacher.
Oh,
Yeah,
your drawing.
yeah.
You stayed in touch with a lot of those people, a lot of the
Oh,
surrounding
yeah.
people.
Oh, yes.
All throughout
And-
forever.
I know.
It's
Yeah.
a bond going down.
Yes, it is a bond. There's something about being a ceramic artist. Well, Leslie knows. She knows. They stick together, right? It's a family. It is. It's a community. It is. Yeah. I don't know what it is, but we're definitely a group that sticks together.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
do you think that's true of all artists or just specifically?
Oh, I don't think it's true of all artists. There are lots of artists that won't divulge any of their secrets. I could name some names, you know, stuff like that. They're just not interested, but we are not like that.
But there's a special bond between.
Yeah, I think it's special. I do. I don't know why or how that happened, but I think it's special.
Oh, yeah. And
Yeah, like two of my friends, they moved back to Thailand, and I'm just like, oh, it's a loss, you know? Yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting. So you would say your freedom, that was one. Is there anything else you got from Otis in your work? There's a big difference between being in the school and then a career. And
Well,
what
you
else?
learn a lot.
Yeah,
I mean, you learn how to make a glaze, how to do everything, make the clay, and how to make a piece. You know, how to do all that. You actually get a lot out of it. I mean, how would I know how to make a piece if I hadn't, you know? But I used to throw, but I couldn't. I don't do that anymore. I couldn't. I gave it up because I used to get a big thing here on my hand, and you'd have to take a book and hit it
Oh, right.
till it went away. That's from throwing. Yeah. Go
What a
to
shame you don't get to do that anymore.
no. It's not something I like to work. Make things by hand. I think, to me, it's always been very important. Anything that's made by hand is very precious, very.
Is that one of the reasons that, I mean, you studied painting with Leger and John Altoon, and you didn't want to pursue the canvas?
Oh, I love to paint. But I don't know, when you have a family and it's just sort of like, it's hard. It's much easier. I can't explain it. I love painting, but I like ceramics more. I like the fact that it's a thing when you're finished. You know, pick it up, hold it.
Yeah, you
I
said
don't know, it's a
what's the
thing.
dimensions of it.
It's hard to paint on ceramics. When I first started to do it, I remember Garth Clark, he said, "Oh, how are you going to do that?" You know, but then he gave me my first show. So I don't know. It's painting in the round. It's not painting on a flat surface. It's different.
Oh, it's very different. Do
Yeah.
you still paint on a canvas or draw at all?
Not as much, no, but I did for years and years and draw. I always took a drawing class, even when my children were small. You know, I used to go to UCLA, where just they had the model twice a week, and I always drew. Yeah, of course I had my mother alive and my mother-in-law, so I could do that and help.
I've always admired the fact that you're an artist and a businesswoman. And did you always enjoy the process of putting yourself out there, looking for galleries,
Oh, no,
signing contracts,
no.
going to openings, having to represent yourself? Many artists are overwhelmed and afraid of that process, and they hide away from it. How did you learn those skills? You're so good at it.
Well, I don't know. When I first went out and thought I should try and represent myself, so I went to a gallery, and I could mention the name, but it doesn't, you know, and they didn't want my work. But a few years later, I had a show with Garth, and that very same person bought a big teapot from that show. It was a Jan Baum gallery.
Wow.
Yeah, and you see, because my work she felt probably didn't fit with her. There is a, you know, galleries take certain things, but a few years later, she bought this beautiful big teapot. I shouldn't say beautiful, but I mean,
That's okay.
they still have it in their house, and I ran into Richard not long ago, but it's very hard to go out and have somebody. Somebody said to Wayne Kuwata, who was the gallery, "Oh, you should go and see this lady's work." So at that time I was living in Palos Verdes, and he came, and that was it. You know, they took me.
You've made
But-
a lot of friends over the years from people who bought your work and
Oh,
galleries.
I love that part of it. All these people have become my friends. I know. That's a nice dividend.
That's
It's
a
not,
really
yeah.
nice dividend.
But I think a lot of people that would not associate themselves with the gallery, there are many people that don't want to do that, because the gallery has to take a certain amount for the work that they do. And you have to be willing to do that. Of course, I was very willing to do that. But I can understand why some people wouldn't, but being part of a gallery, it validates your work, which is first and foremost, right? It validates your work. I think it's very important. And they deserve whatever they get for the work they do.
Did you ever
That's
take
my
your
feeling.
Stuff, I mean, you have to have a thick skin as an artist.
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
Did you ever have people say,
Oh, yeah. The rejection is very hard to take. You know, of course. I've taken a lot of it. Not everybody likes my work. Only, you know, you either like it or you don't. We all have those feelings about what we like and what we don't. You know, a lot of people like a certain thing. I mean, there's ceramic artists out now that I think are terrible. They're very successful. It's not, but I don't like it. You know. So it's
just
hard to.
inherent in being an artist is the ability to take risks.
Oh,
You have to believe in that.
that's
you
it.
know.
That's it.
And that's
Yeah.
what,
Well,
you know.
I think in ceramics, there's a lot of risk. You have to, I remember when I first moved to Palos Verdes, and I wanted to use their facility at the Palos Verdes Art Center. Every time they kept saying, you can't do that. They kept saying it to me all the time, because I wasn't making stacked pots and stuff like that, you know. They said, oh, you can't do that. You can't. Every time I tried to do something, you can't do it. I did it anyway, and it always came out. And I mean, I entered a show as a beginner. What do you call it? Was judging the show. The judge was Adrian Sachs. He didn't know me, I didn't know him, but I got the prize. So it's very funny. I mean, that's always happened with my work. I don't know how or why. I'm very, very humble, but even when I was at Cal State Northridge, we had this large project doing a lino cut, but in wood, and a different color each time and cut away. It was very complicated. And the university kept my piece. So, you know, people have seen things in it, I guess.
Well, Anna,
I don't know, I can't explain it.
you know, there's something of the rebel in the artist, and you look at your work and how you took, you know, classic shapes and forms,
Oh yeah,
and you
I'm warm.
and you completely reinvented them. You know,
Well,
that takes a lot of courage. That's a risk.
I know.
People would say, "What are you doing?"
well, I love attic pottery or whatever. I love everything, you know, crude or whatever, you know.
Do you remember when you first
Sort of.
decided to just?
I like to make it large. I used to make very big pieces. I have made pieces that are as big as I am. Yes.
What shape were
and
those?
it was a figure. And I called the people because I thought, oh God, I know where this is. And they told me they left it outside and it disintegrated. I was so upset.
It was probably too big.
I was so upset. It had nails in it and all kinds of things. I mean, it was a really terrific, I thought, piece. But I used to practically give all that stuff away. I never thought it was any good. And it took me years later and I realized, did I make that? It's terrific.
Well, let's talk about the teapot and why you took that form and made it so big, and what was the reaction to people when you did that?
I remember the teapot at Otis being almost like a project that you had to learn how to make a teapot. You know, for balance, for all these things it has to operate. Oh yeah, that's a small one. To make it a piece like a work of art or something, I thought the scale, make it big. That's why I made it big. I love it. Big.
They're not just big,
They're
they're
huge.
really big.
Yeah. I think Garth once, in a book, he said they were like Alice in Wonderland teapots, you know. So.
They are.
Yeah, they are.
Indeed.
Yeah.
You know, when you think of the shape, they're somewhat like your reliquary boxes.
Yeah.
Because they're a little.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Well, I got the idea I liked the box form. And so I made boxes years ago, one of which is now in the Boston Museum of Fine Arts. And it's a really beautiful old box with old paintings and stuff on it. I just love making a box.
Why is that?
I don't know. I have no idea.
But how did you decide to make those type, because they're, they're ancient, they have.
Oh, I just
the
like the,
relics of
yeah,
saints and.
I just
all
think they're
kinds of
wonderful.
Mystery and.
Well, they contain something and everything. Somebody once put a chicken bone in one.
In one of yours? But that was a very holy chicken.
I know.
Not just your average
That's
chicken.
kind of funny.
That's so
kind of
funny.
funny.
But how do you decide we have one over here.
Yeah.
What are the jewels made out of?
Oh, I made the jewels myself. You can buy, like I think downtown, I can't remember, it's a long time ago, where in a jewelry making place, you buy the jewels, and then I made a cast of them. And then, so I had the jewels. And then I painted them. I made pearls. I had make pieces with I used to make a little pearl, pearl. And then
Put them on the boxes?
put them on the boxes, put them on the pieces. Those are just jewels.
Yeah.
That piece has a lot of stuff on it. It has, the top is fired on gold, real gold, and the bottom is underglazed, but the that is foil.
Oh.
Not, what do you call it, leaf, gold leaf. Yeah, it's leaf. So there's a lot of different things in that piece.
Sounds like you have a lot of fun with those pieces.
Oh, I do. I like
And
to
how do
make
you
them.
decide the top, the.
Oh, well, I found that finial in a junk shop years ago, made a cast of it, and I've used it ever since. I have a lot of them, but I'm always looking for something to cast. That's what that piece has done me well. That little finial. Yeah, I like it. It's just, I don't know.
May I ask a question?
Of course.
I don't want to get.
Anybody can ask.
No, but in making the reliquary,
Yes.
this is a very strange question.
Okay.
Did you ever have an idea as you moved through the piece of whose remains you'd like to put in there?
I have sold several of them for remains.
Have you?
Yes, I have famous people in those boxes.
Excellent.
Yes, I could name one. June Wayne, the artist. Everybody knows June Wayne. I made one for her husband. And then when she died, she made one for her. So, but several other people, lots of other people used them for remains. Yeah. And of course, I had my assistant put the remains in the box. I couldn't do it. No, Gang did it for me. Gang, he would work for me was my assistant for like 14 years. But I let him do that with great respect. He's a Buddhist.
There's another one
Yeah.
there, Anna. Tell us about that one.
Well, this one took a prize in a Biennale. I forgot which one. Taipei, was it? Yeah, it did. They sent me a ribbon and a CD and a thing, whatever. I thought, I don't know why I even entered it. I just saw it and I did it. But it did take a prize. I like it. Oh, this teapot, that's large. Oh, these with the handles, they're from an old Italian form. It's a very, I just thought the form was so beautiful. This is glass.
Yeah, why did you decide to start using glass?
Everybody said, why don't you do glass? There was a time when it was getting very, very popular. And I thought, okay, maybe what I know I can put on glass. So I never knew how to cut a piece of glass, let alone make glass. And the thought of even cutting a piece of glass.
And how was the experience?
Well, I went to Santa Monica College and learned how to cut glass and make glass. That was another thing. You can't do that. Wherever I went, they always said, you can't do that, But,
Did you enjoy it?
oh, I liked it
Yeah,
a lot.
You're still making glass.
Yes,
Yeah.
not as much as clay. But
Anna, do you think there's a relationship between your compositions and your glass pieces to your ceramic pieces? Or do you treat them very separately?
I think separately. That's a very good question, because, I mean, you can see when they come up. I'm thinking a whole other way of arranging the glass. Yeah.
So
Very-
it was more of an extended
It's very,
thought.
yes, it's
from-
very
but-
different.
But very similar to ceramics in the sense
Yes,
that you have to fire it to become
yes.
a piece.
But the shapes, cutting the shapes and everything, and I'm limited with certain things. A lot of the tools, I mean, I feel like I should explore more and maybe do more and stuff with it, but I just don't have time, really.
How are you limited by size? What are all the shapes that you're making in glass?
In glass?
Yeah.
Well, the biggest I've done pieces like round, this big. I've sold them all, sold everything I made. And they're fun. They're fun. And they have a stand, they go on a stand. You have to, it's a whole other thing, which I don't
I see
take
on
that
there
seriously.
The totems were another form. that
Oh,
you-
yeah. Well, this is,
Talk
this
about
is,
your dishes, your cups and.
I did a set of 30 for a collector. And she said, I don't care what you do. She gave me, I don't care about color, I don't care. So each one is a charger and a cup and saucer. And so each one is painted as a unit. And I did 30, all different. And it was really, came out great, I thought. Yeah, it was fun to do.
I
It was
remember
fun.
seeing that.
Oh, this piece,
Yeah, tell us about
this is
that.
very old, that piece. I think I made that piece maybe 25 years ago.
Well, it's
which is-
figurative.
Yeah, it's an attic, and these plates. This is a 26-inch plate. 26 inches, gold. A lot of gold. A lot of gold. And this is that box again. That's just one side of the painting. Those are totems.
You said that.
Yeah,
were they in
I don't know. I think I was looking at Brancusi at the time, and then that's what did it.
Well, they're
you know?
so different from
Yeah, they're
any of
very
your
different.
other
Yes, and they were not easy to make. I mean, everything fit and everything, but it was just construction.
work. Yeah, the sphere.
Yeah.
Years are the totems?
Pardon?
What years are the totems?
Oh, I made those, I think, maybe like 10 years ago. Yeah.
Around 2004.
Is it? Oh,
You can look in the catalog.
that's right. I don't remember. Okay. 2004. Okay.
So how did you get them to stick together, Anna?
Yeah.
How do they?
Technically, how did you get them to stay together?
Which one? The balls?
The totems, how they built?
Oh, they're separate. I made the bottom part, and then the top part has 4 holes, and then the other pieces fit into the holes they have fit in. So they're easy to move. You take them apart, take them apart. And I did not make the balls. I bought them. Yeah, because, I mean, I made about 15 of those totems. It's a lot, and they're perfect. So I bought them.
But you glazed them.
Oh, yes, they were clay. I mean, yeah.
You
But
bought it from a greenware store?
Greenware.
We all have been there.
Yes, yes. I bought them from, I forgot, Adolfo.
Yeah.
Yeah, Adolfo.
When you're in school, first thing you do is you run to the greenware store and you buy the rabbits and the figurines. And,
That's right.
and they have great spheres, because spheres are very difficult.
Right, I couldn't make them. They're perfect. I bought them. That's very early plate. 26 inches. This piece. Oh, that's marbleized gold on the wings.
You don't use figurative drawings on very many of the younger pieces. Why is that?
I've done it. People grab them and buy them first because people love the figure. And I should do it, but it's sort of, I love to draw the figure, but on a pot, I sort of like, I don't know.
And you put
Excuse me.
faces on a lot of your teapots, and
I like the faces.
yeah.
People like faces. I should draw more figures on pots. Like, I don't want them to think
There's
it's
one, yeah.
like
That's the same.
Picasso or something,
Oh,
you know, or,
these are, yeah, those are great.
oh, those cups, yeah. Those are nice and big cups.
There's one, yeah.
Oh, I made a lot of those. Cashpo. Yeah, that used to be me. That used to be me. This is large, very large, and that's large.
That's a real different kind of teapot than
Yes.
the other ones.
The
And here's a
double-
very rare black and white.
Yeah,
Very rarely use black and
yeah,
white.
yeah.
Yeah, very rare.
I love those 3 plates. I don't know if anybody else does, but they're like my favorites. You know, lack of color.
I mean, you
But-
talk about how much you love it, but you've also told me how hard ceramics is.
Well, you wouldn't do it if you didn't love it.
I know, but it's
Everybody here can attest to
Right.
that.
Tell me some of
You're
the-
at the mercy of the firing. You can work, and then put it in the kiln, open the kiln, it can be in a million pieces.
Yeah, how often does that happen?
Not to me very often,
But
but it does happen. I mean, it can happen. It has happened. You know when it's happened the most is for a 26-inch plate. There you get this nice S crack on a 26-inch plate. Yeah, that's the thing. So I took all those pieces and I covered some old big forms, pique assiette, you know, that's sort of, it's an old French they make out of the shards. Yeah.
you've been creating art, Anna, for so many years, and how do you continue to generate the enthusiasm necessary to go back to your studio every day?
I love it.
Start?
I do like it. It's the only time I really like. I resent having to do all the other stuff that goes with it. She knows I get cranky, and Beth put up with me. She did, and so did Joe. She put up with me too because I can't stand to do any of that.
I've heard you say many times, I just
Yeah.
want to go back to the studio. I just
I
want
do.
to go back to the studio.
I do. I actually can't wait to do my laundry from my trip. I just came home from a trip Thursday night. And so then I'm going up there because I have a lot of unfinished work.
Wow.
I have a lot of unfinished work.
Now, when you start a new project,
Yeah.
what is the starting point? How do you conjure what you're going to do? Do you think about the surface and the colors and everything before you? What is your process of?
Well, first I have to think about making the form. So form is a whole other thing. So that's very, important, takes all of my thought. I mean, it's nothing if all the painting in the world isn't going to save the piece if the form is no good. I don't know how to say it any other way. But so that's very important. I start with that. Once I have something I like, it takes me a long time to figure out, do I want to make it dark? Do I want to make it light? Do I want to leave it white and paint on it and all kinds of things? A lot of thought.
And what?
Any artist will think really long time about what they do,
Well,
Yeah.
your work has a sense of spontaneity, which is never,
Well,
is
sometimes you labor over one stroke of the brush, and sometimes you can go in there and it's just your day, you can go for it. But I don't know how to explain
I
it.
always say spontaneity doesn't
Yeah.
happen by accident.
No, that's well
And
said.
all
So
of
true.
The
Yeah.
learning that you've done, all of the.
Yeah. It's like that old saying when they say, Picasso, why did you paint the red room? And he said, because I had a lot of red paint left over. Just all those stories, How do you answer those questions,
Right?
I don't know.
Well, that, you don't
Yeah.
have that as an answer. You don't paint your pots red because you have red paint.
No.
Or green
No.
or any other
Yeah.
color.
Did you always use vivid colors?
I love color. I've always,
Was that one of those things that the people said you can't do it?
no, never about the color. It's about the construction mostly, when I was learning how to put things together, and painting also, because I don't know, just certain colors mature differently in the kiln, but there were always a little something that they said you can't do it. I don't even remember, but
Well, there is a pot though in the catalog and that you made in 1963, I think, at Otis, which has, it's a typical sculptural stacking pot, and there's no color except gray and white on it. So there must have been a time when your color palette was much more muted than when you matured into painting.
I think that's true. And well, I did. It must have been not white.
No, it wasn't
No,
white.
it's white clay.
You know, stoneware.
It was stoneware.
Not that.
Yeah.
Throw it over here.
Don't throw it over.
But by the time I got ready to paint, it was more of a painting experience, you know, so the color.
But you
Here
have,
it is. It's in Lucinda's essay.
Oh, that's, I did that piece at Otis. Yeah, well, that was stoneware. For that piece, I actually made the clay and made the glaze for that.
that was
I
really
mean,
influenced by.
well, everybody did it. You had to. You were there. They had a big cement mixer, and we made the clay.
Wow.
We used to put, to make the slip, we used to use deflocculant or whatever it is, I forgot, to put in, right? I mean, you learned how to do the whole thing.
But the colors are very similar to what the
That's right.
stoneware people were doing.
Yes.
Stoneware.
Yes.
There was a very limited amount of glazes that
That's-
anybody used.
That's why
It must have been a huge leap
it was.
when you started using these wonderful low fire.
It was.
bright
That's when I
colors.
switched to the low fire, and because I wanted to use the color. It made a big difference to me.
And did
then
you
it
see
be-
anybody that influenced you? I mean, was Ken Price doing that at the time, or Ron Nagel, or?
Well, they were doing it. I remember there was a woman, I forgot her name, that did a set of dishes that they now have, and they sell them at Tiffany. Do you remember that woman that did those dishes that were in color? I can't remember her name.
Was it a Rosenthal pattern?
I forgot her name.
Dorothy Hafner?
That's it, Dorothy Hafner. And I remember seeing those dishes. And isn't that funny? I haven't thought about it in years, Dorothy Hafner. But the color, I thought it was terrific. So I just wanted to do it. I did so many pieces like that one in the catalog, none of which I have anymore, just one more bowl at home. And it was a great experience to do it. I love it, you know, the chun glazes and all those things, but it wasn't for me. For me, it was about painting the piece. Yeah.
Are there any more questions?
Oh yeah, ask me anything.
Yeah.
In terms of the process for your larger bowls, what is the process? Is it a form that you're pressing into? Are you throwing?
No, I'm not, I don't, no, I don't throw anymore. But what I've done is make pieces separate and make a mold of them. I make them a mold of a middle, of a foot, of a neck. But a lot of times the other pieces, the handles and the neck, are done by hand. I have a slab roller. I used to do all kinds of things. I told Lucy that at one point I used to take a silk stocking and I used to fill it with the beads that you use in the bubble chair. What do you call it? I forgot that stuff. Yeah, no, but it's dangerous if you breathe it. Now, I used to use it all. Vermiculite.
Oh.
Remember vermiculite? Everybody used to use it, or a big cloth, and I would make this pot from that form. I mean, there are many ways, you know, you make it coil, you make it any way that you can think of if you don't throw it.
Any other questions?
Anna, there's a quality of humor and humanity in your pieces, and I wonder where
Thank
that
you.
comes from.
I just love to look at things. I think it's very important to look at stuff. It's all around you.
You're having fun when you did it.
I do, but it's also you get miserable at times when you make a failure. I don't know, there are a lot of failures. You can't do it, you know, or it doesn't come out the way you wanted it. It's fun, but it's also, you know, hard to do. It's hard. I don't think a lot of people realize how hard it is to make ceramics, to do ceramics. There's a lot of chemistry in it. I mean, a lot of stuff. Yes, Mena?
Reminding me of an artist, a ceramicist in Iceland, in Reykjavik, that I met this summer. And she got asthma because her kiln was in the ground.
Her kiln was what?
In the ground.
In the ground?
Yeah.
Was she doing raku or something?
She did. She stopped, but she had asthma. I mean, she'd been working every 35 years.
I fire lusters and things like that at night. And I have all kinds of fans and stuff because there are things that are bad. You know, you have to wear a mask. Yeah, you should. When you glaze things, you wear a good mask. And you have to be careful. You have to follow the rules, that's all. A lot of people don't. It's like anything else. But you have to respect the material. And then, you know, you can't fire a piece that has a bubble in it, for example, it'll explode. You have to really be careful. I mean, it's basic. Isn't that right, Joe? Those are just basic things.
Right, well,
Yeah.
they have found through the years what the materials, their toxic qualities. I mean, they weren't always known, but now
Now they know about it, exactly.
none of the schools can use any lead anymore.
That's right.
Although when we went to school, we did use
Right.
lead. But there's always, been the discovery of
Right.
your lungs are vulnerable from clay dust.
Right.
But if you are conscientious and well-informed, you can use your materials, as you say, with respect.
Right. But the lead glazes, I mean, the new glazes don't compare.
I know the lead's so much more beautiful.
Of course, it's beautiful.
Lead kills,
Right.
but it also creates beautiful
Right,
colors.
right. All these pieces were made with lead glazes, but I would never make dishes now with lead glazes, just wouldn't do it. But I went to Kansas City Art Institute, and I gave a slideshow with a lot of red pieces, and all the kids kept saying, well, how did you make that red? How did you do that red? I told them to read the label and follow the instructions, and they'll get the same red. But I don't understand what the secret is. There's no secret. You just have to know. It's like when you want something that's cobalt blue, the stain is pink when you paint with it. But you have to know that pink is going to come out cobalt blue. So, I mean, there are things you have to know.
Anna?
Yes. Oh, what was that?
Just move up a little.
Oh my God. Did I break it? Did I break anything? Oh, that's so beautiful. Oh, what?
What do you want to work on next? What's your next project?
Next,
What's the next challenge that you took up glass and then, you know? is
No,
there
no,
any other-
I just want to stick to the ceramics,
Look
but,
at all the teapots there in that picture.
oh yeah.
What,
I don't want to make
any
any
other
more
forms you wanna
teapots.
make?
No, I don't want to make any more teapots, that's for sure.
Any other forms?
Yes, I like very simple things now. I sort of like, you know, like the pottery of Crete, all those things. I want to get back to more with like one brush stroke. I can't explain it, but that's where I want to go now. Yeah, I look at things like that now. Yeah.
So you finish what you have in your studio and then you'll.
Yes.
What shape will they take? Your new.
Always a vessel.
Always a vessel.
Yeah, I am a vessel maker, and always the vessel. I like plates, but I'm, you know, surface. I want to do more simple things. I hope I can do it. I went to the Design Museum in Copenhagen. What a wonderful, you've been there, Beth? Oh my God, it's very inspiring. Have you been there? Yeah, isn't it wonderful? It is. I mean, you get so many, back to sort of like they were
Very elegant, simple forms.
elegant, right? Yeah, I loved it. I like to go where the art is, you know, and I luckily just had a fabulous museum experience at the Rijksmuseum. They had more Rembrandts together than they've ever had before in one place. So it was a massive exhibit of Rembrandt, and then you realize what a genius, what an amazing genius that man was. They had something at the Getty last year where they took modern, like Picasso's and drawings, and then they had a drawing of Rembrandt. Did you see that show? Wasn't it wonderful? Yeah. And then I just couldn't believe it. And then when I saw the show, but I thought that was a wonderful exhibit. Yeah.
You've been to Asia and India and China?
Yes.
And
All of those places.
How does that work influence you in the?
It does. It's all. I like to look at it. I love to run to the museum. I like to look at it. I think it's all beautiful. It's all different. It's all beautiful. I mean, that's for me.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Here's one of your glass pieces, Anna. And
Yes,
how is
that's
that
glass.
display? Is that a metal?
Yeah, they sell every shape. I mean, for round pieces, yeah.
And how do you keep that in the frame? How does that?
There's a little thing, a niche where the glass fits in.
Fits right in.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it has to be big enough for the glass to go in. That's another thing I don't want to make or anything. I just want to buy it, you know? Just want to buy it.
Well, this has been a wonderful
Oh, well.
afternoon.
Oh. Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Anna.
Thank you. I enjoyed it. Thank you, Lucinda.